I keep thinking we're arguing about error budgets when we're really arguing about what we can measure. If the sly is fuzzy, the whole slow is basically decorative.
Yeah, decorative is generous. If we can't explain the surly to support in one sentence, it's probably bad.
Exactly. Like, availability sounds simple until you ask. Available for who? By what action? Over what window? A login page can be up while half the users still can't get in.
Which is how we ended up with that lovely dashboard that said 99.98%, and everyone acted surprised when checkout was broken.
I remember. Very uplifting week. I like lists that map to user pain. Successful requests, latency under some threshold, maybe correctness if we can measure it.
And fewer metrics. People want to track everything because the flowers are blooming and they think observability is gardening.
That is cruel to gardening.
Gardening at least has weeds you can see.
Fair. Gardening, For sloths, I think the trick is picking a target that's ambitious but leaves room for reality. If the error budget is 0, you've just banned risk and called it engineering.
And then everyone ships slower and still breaks things. Very efficient.
Maybe that's why the threshold matters so much. If we set the error budget too tight, we're pretending production is a lab experiment, and it's not.
Right. A realistic budget should match the system's actual blast radius, not our mood on a Monday.
I'm torn though. Part of me wants to say 1% is already generous, but then I remember retries, regional failovers, dependency weirdness, and all the little gremlins that show up after lunch.
1% can be huge if the app is mission critical, and tiny if users can just refresh and move on. It depends on what failure costs.
So the threshold should come from user expectations, incident history, and release velocity. Maybe even separate budgets by tier, instead of one blanket number.
That would be less stupid, yes. The payment path should not have the same budget as the recommended articles widget.
No, definitely not. Though I'd argue the widget has failed me emotionally. A few times.
That's not in the slow.
It should be. But seriously, if we choose thresholds by looking at past incidents, we stop guessing and start noticing patterns. Like if we burned half the budget during deploys, maybe the budget isn't the problem. Exactly. And that's where it gets interesting. The budget stops being a number on a slide deck and starts deciding how fast we can ship.
Which is the only part people actually care about, once the charts stop being pretty.
If we've got plenty of budget left, I'm comfortable pushing more changes, even a slightly risky one. If we're near the edge, then I want to slow down and clean up the mess.
So the budget becomes a traffic light. Green, ship. Yellow, be careful. Red, no new toys.
Right, but I don't want it to turn into cargo cult bureaucracy. It should guide judgment, not replace it. A tiny bug in a harmless path shouldn't freeze every release.
Agreed. But if we're burning budget because we keep shipping on Friday afternoons, maybe the schedule needs to be the thing that slows down.
Oof, that's fair. There's always that temptation to say, just one more deploy. Like the trail sign that says the overlook is 10 minutes away, and then you're walking for half an hour.
That sign is a lie. Like most optimistic release plans.
Still, when the budget is healthy, velocity should go up. The point isn't punishment. It's letting us move faster when the system earns it. And that's really the balance, isn't it? Reliability work feels like it slows feature delivery, until you realize broken systems make every feature more expensive.
Yeah. Buggy platforms are just feature factories with bad morale.
I keep thinking we need a cleaner split. Some budget for product work, some for reliability work, And the error budget tells us when to tilt the ratio.
That sounds sensible, which makes me suspicious.
Fair. I know it can become a tug of war. Product wants growth. Infra wants stability. And meanwhile, users just want the app to not embarrass us.
The users are very demanding like that.
But if a service is consuming budget too fast, pausing feature work to pay down risk seems justified. Not forever. Just enough to get back to a state where shipping doesn't feel like gambling.
I can live with that, especially if the reliability work is concrete, not, let's rewrite the whole thing because it's haunted.
No exorcism projects. Only targeted fixes.
Good, because I'm not on call for a haunted rewrite.
Neither am I. Though I did once spend a week tracing a latency spike to a cache key typo, which felt spiritually haunted.
That counts.
Which brings us to the annoying question. What actually counts as burning the budget?
The thing that hurt users, ideally.
Ideally, yes. But do we count every failed request? Every timeout? A deploy rollback? One bad region for 5 minutes?
Depends on the CLI. If the CLI is successful requests, then failed requests count. If it's latency, then slow ones count. Seems almost unfairly obvious.
Until incidents get messy. One user sees a spinner, another gets a cached response, and the alert fires from a synthetic probe we forgot existed.
Classic. .arc. The probe is the most reliable customer.
I think a burn event should be tied to measurable user impact over the slow window. Not just something bad happened, because something bad always happens.
That would exclude noise, which is nice, because otherwise we'd spend all day counting paper cuts.
But if an incident doesn't cross the threshold, do we just ignore it? That feels wrong.
Not ignore, not record it. Learn from it. Just don't pretend every bruise means the hike is over.
Ha. Fair. Got Aya. Though if the same bruise keeps showing up every mile, I'm starting to suspect the trail, not my shoes.